Hello there and welcome back to another Thunderous Productions video. I'm the madman behind the mic, Jag Thunder, and this is Minecraft. And what's up guys, and welcome back to another Airfield episode. Let's build an airfield. Welcome back everybody, and thanks for all the support on the first episode. Hope everybody is really going to enjoy this. I know the first couple episodes are going to be a little dry and a little boring, but they are going to be packed with a ton of information so that you can hopefully start building your own airfield. We're going to try to build it somewhat block by block once we dig in here by the third or the fourth episode. And if you want to build exactly like I'm building, I will try to cover everything that I'm doing in a tutorial type style video. The first two, like I said, are just information packed and how I go about starting each and every build. So this is how I started the airfield. The last one, hopefully you got all your pictures. You've got everything for the most part laid out, especially your runways. That's the main part, is getting your runways where they need to be, because that is going to be the highlight of your airfield, and it's going to designate how much space you have on each side for your buildings and other structures. And that it was pretty much it for the first episode. Second episode, laying everything out, getting everything situated in your world. Again, was kind of from episode one, but I'm going to go in a little bit more detail here in the second episode on how I laid out all the runways. Again, I'm using a custom map that I made. You can download this in the description. I don't think I mentioned that on the first video, but I probably annotated it. But anyways, the map that I will be using is a custom map that I've made, and it's got plenty of room to build Anderson Air Force runways 1:1 scale. The rest of everything will still be 1:1 scale, but it just won't be Anderson replica of the base. I'm using it loosely for references only. Alright, so anyways, let's dig in here. Enough babbling. Let's figure out what we're doing. Now, like I said, each runway from the first episode, one was 4,000 meters, the other one was 3,800. That's exactly what I have done. I've laid out pretty dang close to actually what I saw on Google Maps for the runway width. And I've covered some of this on some other episodes of Build It Better. This is the runway. I did use 67. I think they were 66 on Google Earth. And I'm going to check this one because I'm pretty sure I did the exact same thing. It's been a little while since I've actually built this stuff, guys, so I'm going to have to go through and double check things just to give you some really good measurements here. 67 is what I used for the width of my runways, and then the length is 3,800 meters on the lower one, or the upper one, and 4,000 on the bottom one. And again, I always try to go to the odd blocks, so 4,001, 4,003, 5, 7, something along them lines. That way I have a center point, and it makes everything so much easier for laying out like your dotted lines and your center lines and things of that nature, and everything just lines up a lot better. And again, from being on the map, I think I took a measurement in between, and I think it was 400 meters. I can't remember between each one. Again, because the scale of this map, or the size of this map rather, not the scale, I don't want to get those two confused. I went 476 meters. So therefore, I think I did use the measurements off of Google Earth, maybe a little bit different. You're going to adjust the width to your map. So that's not quite as critical as getting the width. The width of your runways is probably going to be the most critical thing, because that's where your airplanes are going to be sitting on. And of course, down here I've got my C5s, my C17s sitting on the runway, and as you can see, I've got plenty of room for the wingspan. And when I drop in my B-52, that will fit also. And then make sure that the trees are, and it's going to take a few minutes to kind of load that way, but there's trees on each side. Make sure they're cleared enough so that, again, I know they're not moving, but the wings wouldn't hit them going down the runway. I've had questions about my spacing on the actual numbering system and the layout system here. It's not completed. I still got to get the thresholds in as far as the arrows on each end. We'll be throwing that in either off camera or on camera, one or the other. And then I did go over your left and right runways and your numbering system for your airfields. So again, you might want to backtrack a little bit into the Build It Better series, and I'll try to link it in the description, because I do a little bit better job explaining the numbers on each runway, which way they're facing. So I think it goes 9, 18, 36, something like that, depending on north, south, east, and west. Keep your runways straight. Makes it a lot easier if you want to do diagonal runways. it's going to be a little trickier, and it's going to be a lot harder to put airplanes on the runways. So I always try to build mine straight, and then if I'm going to have any taxiing runways or any connecting runways, I will do them at an angle. This particular one is going, I think, by twos. Let's see. I went 3. No, I'm clicking wrong here. I think 3 4 3 4. I did. I went 3 4 3 4 all the way across. So it wasn't a 45-degree angle. So anyways, that is what I did. I laid out both the runways from Andersen Air Force Base, got the length, got the width, the markings. Again, a lot of Google pictures, a lot of Wikipedia, and then my labeling on the end, and then how far the spacing is for each one. I think the main dots, again, this is going to be dependent on real life. There's a couple different layouts for actual runways, distance between spacing, like markings to the end of the runway, 500 meters from the end. There's special markings that the pilot can see, and he knows, holy shit, I'm running out of room. There's a halfway mark, and then, of course, there's a center line. There's an approach target. So like these two big lines right here are a certain distance from the end of the runway. So when he's coming in, he looks for that target spot. That's where he's going to try to actually put the plane down. So that's what, you know, each of these marks designates a certain thing. And then, of course, these here are, you know, how close to the threshold or the end of the runway if they're coming in from the other direction. You'll have to look all that stuff up, or like I said, reference the other Build It Better video, and we'll explain a little bit more of what I've done there for the size of the different markings, how many of them, and things like that. But these are 19 long, and I have made them, so it's 9 wide, and just skipped space in between. Went to the center of my runway, and then marked back center, cut that in half, cut that in half, cut each one of those in halves, so that I had small sections to work with, and I had center lines for each section. So I think I broke each half into 8 or 12 different sections. Made it a lot easier to handle, and then I just mirrored it going out the other direction. So that makes it a lot easier, instead of starting here and saying, okay, well, I'm going to go, you know, 30 blocks in between each one, or whatever. What did I go? 33. And then you get to the other end of the runway, and your lines don't look right because you've only got 20 spaces left. Then you got to move everything down. So a little bit of math is involved, guys. I know it sucks. Again, this is kind of the boring part. But cut it in half, take that number, cut that in half, take that number, cut that in half, until you have small pieces to work with, and you can figure out exactly what your spacing is and how many lines within that spacing. So you're going to take the overall length, and you're going to divide that by, you know, how long your blocks are going to be. Like, say 19. Well, how many is that going to turn into how many lines? Like I said, it's very complicated. It's very complex. It takes a lot to lay out. I can't specifically give you numbers because mine is going to be different than yours. All I can do is tell you what I've used for mine. 33 in between the main lines, and then these lines here are 19 wide, and they are 3 wide. These aren't expressways or roads, so I feel the lines should be a little bit wider, your markings, so that you can see them better. The ones on the side are 2, 1 spacing here, and then again 2 here and 1 spacing there. The taxiing runways, I left to a single line, and all your taxiing runways probably should be in yellow. We'll address that maybe later on in the series, but for the most part, your taxiing runways should be in yellow, or your service roads for your vehicles. All right, so that should cover laying out your runways, figuring out how they go, what angles to put them at, how to mark them, and all that good stuff. Once you have all that built, you're going to go in and you're going to figure out where your hangar bays are going to go. You're going to figure out where all your buildings are going, where your towers are going to go, your parking area, and we're going to cover all this in episode 3. Like I said, right now I'm just showing you, just getting you caught up to where I am on my runway, and giving you some ideas for the main parts of it, the things that are going to be the most eye-catching when somebody drops in and says, oh, sweet, an airfield. Where are the lines? So that's what we're covering. Circles, you can go to plots.uk or something or another, plots.co, something anyways, that'll be linked in the description. We'll give you all the circles that you need for laying out all your radiuses and your diameters for your turns, because obviously there's going to be a lot of them on your airfield. So get used to that website. Again, I've got MC Edit, so I can use a brush and I can put in the measurements that I want and lay it out, and then break the circle apart, and then I've got the semicircles, or the quarter circles anyways, and that's what I use. Makes it a lot faster and a lot easier for all the, again, all the boring stuff, the stuff that, you know, yes, I can do. I've been doing this for years, but I'm not going to waste the time laying out each circle one block at a time when I have tools like this at my disposal, and I'm trying to teach you guys how to do it. Otherwise, it would be next year before we even get done with the runways. All right, continuing on, there was a section from the map that had a bunch of hangar bays on it, so that's what I'm trying to build down here at this area on the western end of the runway. Again, it's not going to matter specifically what direction or the placement of where I'm putting things, but along the main line of the runway in the middle, there is a servicing area for the aircraft. It will have some hangar bays. There will be just some plain work ordinary pads just like this. There's nothing around it. They just park the plane on it, and that's where they can load up ordnance or do engine swaps, you know, stuff like that. There'll be some bigger hangar bays back on the further end of the runway, and I'm not going to fly down there right now. It'll just take too long for this to load up. I'll just talk about it for a few minutes, and then we'll clear up this episode. So down on the other far end, I've got the bigger hangar bays for the C5s, which are ginormous. Took up a lot more room than I actually wanted. Maybe I'll try to fly down there while this loads and I talk. Took up a lot more room than I realized that it would, and I had to kind of shoehorn it in down at the end of the other runway. And again, you can look at my other Build It Better episodes in my Airfield specific videos to see exactly what I'm talking about. And then once we get to episode 3, of course, you're going to see it too. But down on the far end is the only opening into this airfield. So that is where my main admin buildings are going to be. So the next thing that we need to worry about once we have the airfields laid out is access to the base. How are we going to get in and out? Again, if we were driving in Minecraft, where would be the main admin building? Where would be the main gates? Where would be the main parking? And then once we get that down, then we'll figure out where some of the other administrative buildings go, some of the other hangars go, where the tower goes. Yes, we're definitely going to build a tower in this. So that is all the plans for the Airfield episodes. So anyways, yeah, that is all the boring stuff. Hopefully we are done and you just got, your brain is completely packed full of information and some really great ideas on how you can lay out your airfields and get started and kind of get caught up to where I am with my airfield. And then episode 3, like I said, we're actually going to jump in game and do a let's build playing type of style where I go in, I'll count some blocks out, we'll kind of build some things together and talk about, you know, what I'm thinking about, what kind of pictures I'm using, and how I'm laying everything out and getting, you know, a real good feel for a scale. Again, guys, really appreciate the awesome support on the series. Make sure you add some questions down in the comment section. I'm going to be answering questions throughout this series once I get started, probably, like I said, in episode 3 or 4. I'm going to start randomly pulling in questions from the comment section. I'll pull your name up, put it on the screen in the question, and it gives me something to talk about while I'm just digging out roads and stuff like that, things that are boring, and the commentary kind of peters out and I really have nothing to talk about except, well, I'm digging some more holes here. Well, I'm digging some more holes here. I can actually answer some of your Minecraft or non-Minecraft related questions. So start racking them up in the last video and this video. That way I've got plenty to keep me going for quite a while throughout this series. Not sure how long it's going to last, but we're just going to build until we have an airfield. So hopefully this actually lasts quite a while, and you guys get some really, really good ideas on how to build your military base. So that's how we're going to work it. That's how things are going to happen, I hope. And like I said, interact with this video, guys. Make sure you hit that like button if you really like this series. If you like these videos, if you like what I'm doing, if you appreciate what I'm doing, make sure you always click that like button just as soon as the video starts. That way it's out of the way. You don't have to think about it like, oh shit, I forgot. Make sure you share it on Facebook, Google, Twitter, any other social media networks that you have and that you enjoy. Bring people over to the channel, help my channel grow, help support my channel, say I really like what this guy's doing over here, and this is how I'm going to show my support. So like always, guys, I always appreciate that support. And remember, guys, to rate, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.